welcome to End Talks by Inspire, the annual entrepreneurship event by IIIT Lucknow. This is Shreya, your host for the session. And today at End Talks, we have an intelligent, motivational, and a truly inspiring person with us. So, before I let all know who is he, let me tell you something about him. He is a man with great productivity hacks and a true hard worker. From day one of his life, he endeavored in every aspect. He's having a remarkable history behind. He cleared everything and stood up at the top. NTSCs, Olympiads, JEE, etc. And in JEE, he scored a perfect 360, which was a record breaking in the history of JEE examination. And then he got into a prestigious college, IIT Bombay. Being a graduate from the great IIT Bombay in the field of computer sciences and technologies does not force him to go for a job. Instead, he chased with his dreams and wanted to become an entrepreneur. And today, it's very proud to say that he is a founder and CEO of AcadBoost, a epitome of inspiration. The most fascinating thing he not only succeeded in his dreams, but also fulfilling the dreams of many students who are aspiring great career, and also providing employments for others at very young age. This is a remarkable legacy that he took forward with enthusiasm. So let's not wait to welcome Mr. Kalpit Veerwal sir here.
Hi, thank you for the kind words, and it's an honor to be present at this prestigious institute and speak to all the great minds over here. So today I'm going to talk about a few themes. I'll be talking about how one should navigate their college life. I'll be telling about a framework which I feel is great for college students to follow. And finally, I'll be talking a bit about entrepreneurship, how you can start your own business and all that stuff. All right. After that, we can have a Q&A. So first of all, I'll share a framework of success in college, which I was thinking about in the morning, and I'll be sharing it with you right now. So according to me, what a lot of college students don't do in their college life, especially in their first few years, in their first and second years, is to figure out what they actually want to do in their lives. Okay. So it's a very important question, which the answer of which you should have figured out by the time you end your second year. And most students who I know these days don't do this. What is happening right now is that students, they just have a bunch of different things. They dabble in a bit into computer science, a bit into data science, a bit into analytics, a bit into consulting, a bit into entrepreneurship. Like they do all sorts of things and they make a very diversified resume. And that is actually considered, and that is what the mainstream advice is, that you should know a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of this, a bit of that, and all that stuff, right? And what actually happens, what actually ends up happening with this approach is that students end up becoming people who have a little bit of knowledge of different fields, but not the mastery of any single one, right? And after that, the placements come, and then they take the first job which they are getting with a decent package, and they may not even like that particular field, right? This leads to a lot of burnout, and a lot of people end up quitting their careers or changing their career trajectories. Now, this problem could have been avoided at the very root level if a bit of care was taken at the initial stages of your college life. So according to me, you should ask yourself 3-4 questions in your first year. Okay, it's great if you discover the answer to all these 3-4 questions in the first year. But I think even if you take 2 years, it's fine. But you should have the answer to these 3-4 questions in your by the end of your second year. So these questions are: what am I good at? What am I willing to work really hard for? What is something that people are willing to pay for? And what is something which I can keep improving myself on? Okay. So I'll tell you why these are important. So you have to pick a field where you are genuinely interested. You will not get tired of that field even after 10 years, even after 20 years. Okay. It has to be something which genuinely passionates you. All right. Then you have to make sure that someone is willing to pay for it. Okay. Now the reason why this you should do, because you could be very passionate about juggling, okay, but no one actually pays for juggling, right? You might be like, yeah, I will spend 10 years of my life juggling or doing something which has absolutely no market at all. Okay, and I'm not talking about entrepreneurship or any particular thing here. Okay, even if you're looking for a job, this is super important that you take care of these 2 particular questions in the beginning itself, right? Now, the third question was that what is something which I'm willing to work on for years? So the three things are what is something which I have an aptitude for, what is something people pay for, and what is something which I can work on for the next few years. Okay, so the intersection of these four sets, that is supposed to be what you should be working on in your third and fourth year. So I'll give you a few examples. I'll give you my example, and I'll give you a software engineering example. Okay. So let's be honest, almost everyone in college these days, he has one particular thing, ki first year mein guste, ki how to become a software engineer. Okay. And that is like basically, I think 70 to 80% people are particularly chasing this particular field. Now let's discuss these 3-4 questions with this particular premise, right? So the first question is, am I good at coding? So most people are not actually good at coding in their first year, let's say, but you can become good at coding if you dedicate enough hours to it. So I think that question is solved. Is it something people pay for? Yes, it is something people pay for. There's a huge market. A lot of companies are recruiting software engineers, at least now. And there's a lot of, like, you can even start your own company, a software company or something like that. That is sorted. Now, the third question is that the third question, which is very important, can I keep on working on this sustainably for the next 10 years? Is it feasible? I think this is the point where a lot of people are actually lacking. So the difference between who will actually make it into a great software career versus not is actually this question. So most students who you will see who want to become software engineers in their first year, they don't actually end up getting a job because all the time they are just chasing these tips and tricks, how to become a software engineer in 30 days, how to become a software engineer, like top 5 programming websites and something like that. Some short trick they're chasing, they're not chasing sustainability. So if you're someone who is actually passionate about it, you will be able to work on this particular field for 10 years, 20 years or so. And that is how you build a very respectable portfolio of yourself that, okay, he has been an engineer for 10 years. So then you get promoted and then you can actually have a great career in that particular field. All right. So these 3 or 4 questions are something which you should answer that, am I entering a field which I really want to pursue? Am I entering a field where I have an aptitude? Can I keep on doing it for the next 10 years? 10 years. Okay. I'm not talking about 3 years, 4 years. And is it something people are willing to pay for? So I'll give you my own example why I entered the education field. So education was something in which I was really good. I was really good at my academics. I had cracked almost all exams. I'm pursuing one of the toughest degrees. I just completed it recently. So that part was sorted. I was really good at it. I was really passionate about it. I was really, really passionate about, studying and doing all that kind of stuff. And it is obviously a big market. Everyone who is in IIIT Lucknow, for example, you must have paid a lot of semester fee, I presume. So it is a big market. So all these things are satisfied. Okay. So that is why I was able to have a successful career as of now in this particular field. So you have to find out what that field is for you. What is something that interests you? What is something you can work on for the next 10 years? And what is something that will be paid for? If you can figure out the answer of these 3 questions in your first or second year, then things become much more easier. Okay. So the ideal workflow, according to me, should be that the first year should be spent doing a lot of stuff which could or could not be outside your comfort zone. You can try which are not very good at, it's fine, but you have to keep on trying. Figure out a few things in which you are like that, okay, I'm good at these particular things. These are the probable answers of these 3-4 questions. And then spend your second year trying to gain some kind of experience in that, because sometimes what we feel is good for us is not actually good for us. So I think at least some of you have tried software engineering or coding, right? You might not be from a coding background, but you're right. And most people after 1 year of programming, they actually give up. They realize that it's not meant for everyone. So it's not something everyone can do. Not everyone has the aptitude. Not everyone has the kind of longevity to sit down for 10 hours and code. Not everyone has that, right? So yeah. So in your second year, you figure out which of these are not actually the answer. And once you have figured out the answer, I want to get to this particular field, so it will be fine. And some people are really passionate about stock markets and making money and all that. Some people are really passionate about starting up. So I was one of the people by the end of my you can say third semester at my second year, I was pretty confident that I'm not going for a job. I did not even register on my placement portal. So in my second year, if I did not, so I had put myself in a position where if I did not start up, then I will going to start. So because I had not registered for placement in my second year. So that was the level of commitment which I have, and that is the level of commitment to that single thing you should have. Now your third and your fourth year should be spent trying to build a network and trying to improve yourself and trying to establish a credibility in that field. So I spent my third year trying to go a bit more in the entrepreneurial side. I started giving out features like these. I started putting out more content on my YouTube channel, both related to academics and related to starting and related to all kinds of stuff. That was when I started growing there, and that was when we started our putting out our first courses. When academy started with growing, then we expanded to college, then expanded to junior divisions and all that stuff. So that is the framework of college which I recommend for most students. I hope it made sense and it was something which added some non-trivial value to you. Now I talk about starting up, how to start your company, how to start your business in college. Okay, yeah. So what I recommend here. So there's a difference between what is actually recommended on the internet about how to start up. So if you look up on Twitter, if you look up on YouTube, how to start up, you will find a bunch of people who have actually never started something except their YouTube channels. They will be talking about how to start this, a thread on how to start up, a thread on Google, a thread on Tesla, a thread on this, that. But there will not be actual advice on how to start a business. And the reason for this is because India is a country where there are very few markets. Okay, there are very few markets which actually people pay for. So some of the markets which exist in India, and mostly they are essential markets. Okay, they are not places. So in US, you can have a Tesla, you can have a company like Tesla over there, or you can have a company like Oculus over there. But you cannot have a company like Oculus or Tesla at scale in India. Okay, you cannot have that because people don't have that kind of income levels to buy those kind of stuff. So you have to start in very traditional markets. Okay, so this is something which I struggled with a lot in my second year, that why am I entering a market so banal, so banal and so boring such as education. Okay, and the reality is that in India only a few markets are big enough where you have a shot at starting up and succeeding. So a few markets which I really think you can work on are education, which is a market I'm in. Then content and entertainment is a big market, and I'm entering that one also soon, which you'll be hearing about in a week or two. Then I think fashion and all that is also a big market. There are many companies like I see a lot of ads of Nike, for example. I don't know why I remembered this because I saw something like that today. So these are the companies where you can actually succeed. If you aim for too much of innovation or a sci-fi type of idea as your first idea, it sounds good, and a lot of people do that. A lot of people talk only about SpaceX, Tesla, building this, that in their first year, but it is not actually feasible. What I recommend to you is to start small. Start with a small idea. Start with a very basic, a very boring idea, because those are things that people pay for. It has to be very boring. It has to be something which has a market. You cannot expect to create a market. You cannot expect to create a category out of nowhere. That is not something which is possible at the level of a student. Okay. What you should focus on is can you add some value to something you already know. Okay. So if you are someone who is really good at writing, let's say you are really good at writing, then just start a content creation agency. Start small. Don't aim big. Don't try to create a dent in the universe. Don't try to do that right now. Okay. You will create a dent in the universe, but later on. Right now you have to fill your wallet. After that, you can
very much,
start putting out dents on the universe. All right.
Thank you.
So if you're good at content, start a content creating agency. Start contacting people who need content, who need articles for their blogs, for their website, or whatever, and try to build that. Start small. Start as a company of one. Okay. Try to handle everything yourself and start making some money. Okay. Once you have started having a constant stream of income in your college itself in your first or second year, it adds a lot of confidence to you, because now You can dream of skipping your placement. You can dream of being financially independent. You can dream of starting your own company someday. That is how I actually started. I remember when I was in my summer break of first year, I started writing off my first blog. Obviously, I had some extra, I had a push because of my JEE and all that. I had that, but okay, you will have to work on something or the other eventually. You have to become good and create some credibility. I did that in my 11th, 12th. So you have to figure something out. That is something which is a bit hard to answer.
In the capacity of an advisor, mentor,
I started blogging, I started my channel, and then once I had my first revenue stream, when I had my first payment sent to me, that gave me a lot of confidence. Then I started AcadBoost, started writing a few blogs. I started a content agency in my second year. That is why I gave this example. Then I started my first course. Then it succeeded. Then I started a full subscription for JEE. Then we started a full subscription for college students. So this is how you expand. Start small. Start with something you are good at. Start building an audience, start marketing, start selling. Just try to have some sort of an income stream. Okay? I know this sounds a bit wish-washy, something which is just spoken, easier said than done kind of a thing. So I'll answer some questions personally as well after a few minutes, where you can ask more specific questions. If you have some particular idea and you want to ask me, I'll answer them individually later on. But right now, your focus is to start an income stream, start making some money, and try to think of ways in which you can invest that money into your business and grow it. Okay. So for example, I gave that content writing example, right? So start writing content for yourself. Once you have started getting more clients, maybe you can hire a content creator to work under you. Then your job would be to get even more, clients who will give you content to write. You can outsource it to your employees, to your first or second content writer employees, and then slowly grow the business. Okay. Everything which you read on the internet will sound very, 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 very far-fetched and something which exists in their dream ki, ye kar lo, wo kar lo, funding raise kar lo. All these things are things that sound really good, but they are not really practical for most people. So I have spoken about a framework for success in college. I have spoken about entrepreneurship, how you can succeed in your business venture. Now I'll be talking about how to choose your career stream. Okay. And how to optimize various parameters in your college life. So this will be a pure, hands-on academic talk. So for those of you who are the college types or the academic types. So a few questions which a lot of students have is how to balance your GPA, how to balance what things should you be doing? Should you focus on projects, internships? Should you focus on competitive programming and all that stuff? So the answer to these questions is that first, you should have a clear-cut answer inside of you. Actually, right now, you should have this answer right now. Do you want to do higher studies? Do you want to get a job? Or do you want to start your own business or become a freelancer? Because that is also somewhere sort of entrepreneurship. Okay. These are questions which you should have answer of right now at this very moment. Because if you don't have answer, no, I'm not asking you ki job kaun si karni. I'm not asking you, do you want to become a web developer, Android developer, or a data scientist? I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you ki job karni hai, business chalana hai, ya padhai karni hai. This very basic question. Okay. So if your answer to this question is that you want to you want to go for entrepreneurship. Okay. Then you should understand that entrepreneurship, especially if you are someone who is a middle class person, you should understand that entrepreneurship is either a home run or go home. Okay. You don't have a middle ground. Either you will make a lot of money or your business will not start. Okay. That is what actually happens. Okay. There's a very high risk, very high reward thing. And most people actually don't pull off a startup or don't pull off success in a business because of a lot of reasons. And the number one reason is because the market was inexistent. And this is something which I've experienced myself in my life as well, that India is a country where there are very few markets where you can actually succeed as an entrepreneur. Okay. There are very, very few markets where you can actually succeed. Okay. So if you decide to be an entrepreneur, have some sort of a backup. Okay. You should have at least one skill which you're really good at that you can fall back on. So I want to talk about a particular type of person who is found in every college. So you must have this kind of a person in your class who is the networking bro, who doesn't have any skill at all. He doesn't know coding. He doesn't know content writing. He doesn't know anything. He's just some sort of a jugaad type person. And he says that I will become an entrepreneur. मैं तो startup करूँगा. And the problem with this is that yes, they might succeed, but if you don't manage to start your business, you have absolutely nothing to do with your life because you don't have a real skill. So even if you want to become an entrepreneur, have some skill. If you are in the CS branch, or if you have a code, if you like to code, that is great because you can. Software engineering is something which takes a lot of money to like. You need a lot of money to hire a software engineer. Okay, so if you can do the engineering work of your app, of your startup, then that's great. Okay. And if your startup doesn't succeed, you can always go back and get a job, and you will have a full startup as your project in your resume. So like there's literally no chance that you have built an actual product and no one hires you. That cannot happen. Okay. So that is one thing which I would ask everyone who has even a little bit of thought of entrepreneurship. If you are someone who is aiming to go into higher studies, go for a PhD or masters or something like that, then I would say focus a lot on your MBA and have a good relationship with your professors. Okay, you don't want to mess with your professors if that is your aim. Okay. Now the third is if you want to get a job, I would say the one thing which matters a lot for a job is your past experience. So whenever I hire someone for any position, I see I don't remember seeing anyone's college or their branch at all. What I see first is what have they done in their past? Do they have some achievement which justifies key they are a competent person? It could be anything. It could be having a great performance in some exam, in some competition, or maybe you were the head of your you were the head of your college society, something competent, something that shows that this person is a competent person. Then I see if he or she has some experience. Do they have they worked in some good company for some work for some duration, and have they created some projects of their own? Okay, projects really matter a lot, so you should try creating something of your own. If you're someone who's going for a business development profile or something like that, have some experience. You have done that particular job for some other company. If you're someone going for a coding profile, have a website, have an app, have something that shows that you have done your job. If you're someone who is going for a design job, then have a good portfolio, have like and the most important thing is design your own website really well. So I remember this one guy applied for a UI UX position some like a year back, and I went to his own website and it was completely a garbage website. So you don't want to do those kind of things because then people will reject you straight away. Okay, people have a lot of applications at their hands, and they don't have the time to see where you like whether okay इस बंदे की website शायद गलत बन गई होगी. They don't have the time for that. You might be a great designer, but if your first impression is bad, then everything is bad, right? So yeah, this was something about about how you should go about for each of the three big pathways that people choose. All right, so I think it's 8:30 now. I think I'll have a Q&A type of session where I'll take questions from the audience.
Okay, so we'll begin the questions. Just a minute.
Can you check the live stream? I think
it is working fine, I guess.
yeah.
It was having some trouble in between, but it has been fixed now.
Sir, I have a question. Like, different entrepreneurs have different mindset. Some are little conservative. Some are more of a taking risk type. So, what's your take on this? Like, what do you want a person to be? You should be conservative in doing something, or you should, yeah.
All right. So the answer to this question completely depends on your risk appetite. So as I said, entrepreneurship is either a moonshot or a crash landing. Okay. So if you are someone who is so as you grow, I think it becomes easier to take risk, and at the same time, your stakes of losing become very big. So I would say that if you are at level 0, that you don't have anything at all, कि भाई कुछ भी नहीं है, like you don't have a backup, you don't have anything. In that case, I would say that, okay, maybe you can be a bit more risky here because you have everything to gain and nothing to lose. All right. But at the same time, I would say that just have some sort of a backup in your place. So if you're someone whose family already has a business, or you're someone who who knows that he or she will get a job, then I think it becomes much easier to take a risk. But if you're someone who is completely poor, who has absolutely no backup, no support, no family support, nothing, I think what you should do here is that, maybe take it slow a bit and then try escalating things. So it all depends on your life, what kind of things you want from your life. A lot of people, they chase fame, they chase, glory and all that. So for those kind of people, I would say it's all about risk, because if you do boring things, no one will notice you. Okay, if you're someone who's building a bootstrap company with absolutely no, if there's no sexiness in your business, then nobody will take notice, right? And there are a lot of companies in India which make a lot of money, people who are literally billionaires, but no one knows them because they don't do anything that creates a lot of hype. And on the other end of the spectrum, you have people who are not doing anything significant, who don't have any money or any, like, they are not very rich, they don't make much money, their business doesn't have any profits or nothing whatsoever, but they are very famous because they pull off all kinds of stunts. And a lot of business news that you see online is actually paid news, so they pay for news. And I actually get some emails saying that, you are nominated for XYZ award and pay us some money for this award. And so I personally don't believe in chasing glory. But if you are the kind of person who likes that, maybe risk is what you want. If you're someone who likes to create, who likes to have wealth without a lot of people knowing about it, which is actually a very good thing, then maybe you should, keep things a bit slow, keep things a bit under the radar. So the answer to this question really depends on what you want from your life. I hope this points you in the right direction.
Okay, thank you, sir. So one more question we have a chat is that since the internship season and placement season is going on right now in our college and other colleges too, so people are generally still a bit confused about how should they go about it. Like, what should I do for an internship? Should I do more projects? Should I do more coding? And same for the placement. I mean, so can you throw some light on that?
All right. So one thing which you should understand is that placements and internships are not as much about your skills or as much about how much you know, than it is about being in the right place at the right time. Okay, you should understand this. So a few days back, I'm starting a new company. So I had hired some people a few days back, like 2-3 days back, and I did. And when I'm going through the list of candidates, so whenever you are filling out a form, you are applying at a company, a lot of other people are doing that as well. Okay. So there will be anywhere between 500, 1,000, 10,000 applicants at one particular position. Okay. So the first round of many of these companies is actually screening, which might not even be done by a human being. So understand this very well. So one thing which I've seen a lot of people do is that they don't even know how to fill their resume. They don't even know how to fill their applications. Okay. So don't do these silly mistakes. I think most people get rejected because of these silly mistakes. 50% of the applications which I've received in the last, ever since I started hiring back in 2018, almost 50% of the applications don't even have their form filled correctly. Okay. So fill out everything in the form, everything which is mentioned really, really well. Okay. So that anyone who is screening you, even if it's a human or a robot, a lot of companies actually have robots, and there are actually software tools which screen resumes, right? So make sure that you don't get rejected there itself. So you might be the best programmer in the world, but if your resume has mistakes, or you've not filled out something which is asked in the correct format, then you are going to get rejected. So sometimes I ask people to submit their resume as a file, and when people attach the Google Drive link, it actually is logged. So is the recruiter going to take the time to unlock your resume? He has to deal with 9,000, 5,000, 500 other people as well. So they're not going to do that. So first of all, don't do these silly mistakes. Fill out everything correctly. Make sure that whatever you are before the interview stage, when you're under the screening stage, don't make any of these mistakes, and that itself is going to boost your chances a lot. Okay, a well-filled application can actually 5 to 10x your chances of getting an interview. This is actually the difference between, difference between getting an interview or not for most people. Now, everything which you provide in the application form should be really well. Your LinkedIn should be extremely clean. Don't make any, don't write anything which you cannot afford to write. Okay, so don't. So please don't do that. Okay, that is something which people see. They go to their LinkedIn profile and they don't have things right, filled there right, or it seems a bit scammy, it seems a bit shady. That will get a rejection. Your GitHub. So if you're applying for a coding job, make sure that your GitHub profile is really clean. It explains itself really well. It's well documented. All that really adds up. It creates a persona in the mind of the interviewer before you're interviewed. Okay. So half of the hiring is actually done before the interview itself. All right. If you do these things, these particular things correctly. Now inside the interview, you have to make sure, you have to do a few other things as well. So sometimes when I talk to people, some of them can be really argumentative or they don't. So please, I'm not saying that you should not express your disagreements, or you should not express your opinions, or you should not, have a friendly conversation with the interviewer. But you should understand this, that almost everyone who is going to get hired in particular role, almost everyone is actually eligible for that role. When most companies hire a software engineer, let's say, they know that if they have checked the projects of the person, if they've checked the profile of the person, everyone who is being interviewed, if they are given the job, they will do the job absolutely fantastically. They don't have any doubt about that. What they are actually hiring for is your personality. Are you a good communicator? Will you do your work on time? Are you someone who is sloppy? Are you someone who is disrespectful? Are you someone who will get along with others and manage to get the job done? These are things that really happen. Having a incorrectly filled profile, having a locked Google Drive, having a GitHub profile which is not really, well organized, that is something which can really hurt your chances. So this is point number one. I know it got a bit long, but this is something which a lot of people don't work on at all. The second thing which I would say is that apply at a lot of places. So grab every opportunity that you get and apply there. Do it. You will have to apply to 50, 60, 100 companies before you get. So if you apply to 100 companies, you will probably get an interview call at 10. And if you go for 10 interviews, then you will get 1 or 2 job offers. Then you get to choose ki mujhe itna salary chahiye. No, I like this profile. Then you get to choose. So you will have to put in the hard work, even if you're talented, even if you're the best programmer. You will have to let that company know that you are the best programmer. Okay. If you don't let them know, if your GitHub profile is stupid, if your resume is not filled correctly, they will not know that you are the best programmer. They will not know that. Right? So be a good communicator in real life as well as on your profile. So I would say these are the two main things. If you do these two, I'm sure that it will boost. And otherwise, talking of your skills, you obviously cannot improve any of your skills in these 1 or 2 months. So these are the only two things you can actually work on. Yeah.
So I guess all the people who are preparing for interviews and internships would be very happy to know this, and this might be helpful for them. Thank you, sir, for this. And now one more question for all the young budding entrepreneurs who basically just have a raw idea but don't know what should be the very first steps that they should take after this.
Okay. So I would say that this very approach of having an idea, it's actually very wrong. Okay. This is not how you actually start a business. What you should start with is, so the first question which you should ask is, and this is very similar to the first thing I talked about, what is the market that I should enter? I'm not talking about the idea. I'm not talking about the product at all. Ask yourself, which market do I want to enter? Should I enter? Now, again, here you have to follow that success framework, which I talked about in the beginning. It should be something which people pay for, something that you are good at, and something that you're willing to work for. Okay. When these three intersect, you get that market which you should enter. So how I chose the education market, I explained it before as well. It was something I was good at. It was something I knew throughout. I knew कि college में बच्चों को क्या difficulty होती है, JEE में क्या, I knew all of that. And it was something people are willing to pay for. So you have to decide this first. Don't start with the idea कि मैं तो rocket ship बनाऊंगा, मैं तो ये वाली चीज बनाऊंगा. I will make the Flipkart for pillows. I will make the Uber of mattresses. Don't do it like that. Okay. Once you have decided कि I want to enter this particular market, let's say you decide to enter the food market. Okay. Now I don't know anything about the food market. I don't know if it's a good time to enter there or not. But let's say you decide कि I want to enter the food market. Now, food market can have a lot of things inside it. You can start a restaurant, you can start a delivery service, you can start an online aggregator, you can start a Shopify for food, a Shopify for restaurants, you can start an Amazon for restaurants. There are a lot of options here. Explore them and see which one of them is suited for you. Once you've decided ki, okay, this particular market and this particular sub market in the market is good, and you should decide a sub market which you are actually good at. So when I started out, I knew कि मुझे education market में जाना है. सबसे पहले किस चीज में घुसना है. Okay, for me it was super obvious that I should first enter the JE market. उसके बाद expand किया बाकी चीजों पे, right? So once you decided the sub market, try to build some kind of an audience, some kind of a way to get your customers. Okay, so first you have to get into the market, then get a set of people who are actually interested in it before launching any product. And once you have that set of people, then decide कि अब मुझे ये idea बनाना है, अब मुझे इस product पे काम करना है. This is what your approach should be. So let's say you entered the food market. Okay, you decide कि मुझे food में कुछ करना है. You're really passionate about food. You're really good at cooking or something of that sort. Okay, you decide that. Now you should try to understand where will I get the first customers. Okay, this is super important. Distribution matters mostly in your business. It doesn't matter कि तुम्हारा idea कितना अच्छा है. It doesn't matter कि तुम्हारा product का best UI UX है. It does not matter. What matters is, do you have a way to get customers? Okay, if you have a way to get customers, you will win. You can have a bad product. It does not matter. You can have a bad product and then you can fix it later on when you get feedback. That is fine. But what is not fine, you have the best food app in the world. Zomato and Swiggy have nothing in front of your app, but you don't have the network of delivery partners. You don't have the network of people who know about your app. That is where you will fail. Okay. So first start with the market, then decide, then try to build a. So in the food example, maybe you can contact. So you can go to your local Zomato head. You can try to figure out about the delivery persons in your locality. That is a good first step. You can figure out कि तुम्हारे area में कौन deliver करता है. You can talk to them and try to understand कि what kind of food habits do people in your locality have, because you have to start somewhere, right? You cannot think कि मैं आज ही पूरे India और southeastern continent के अंदर आज ही मैं सारी delivery कर दूंगा. You cannot do that, right? You have to start small. So you contact those people. You try to build a distribution network. Okay. Then you try to get a set of people in your locality who are interested in ordering food. So let's say you are someone who is really good at making pizza. You want to start your own pizza chain. Okay. So first start with maybe an Instagram page of pizzas in your area. So I live in Udaipur, so Udaipur best pizzas. Now I'm pretty sure there is no such page on Instagram. I'm pretty sure of that. Or if there will be few. But there are people in Udaipur who are interested in pizzas, right? So I start an Instagram page. I start something ki Udaipur pizzas, best pizzas, right? So now I will start. So you can run some ads or something with a little amount of money, and then you will get some people who are interested in that. So now your problem is fixed. You have decided your market. You have some people who want pizzas. You can be someone who's really good at making pizzas, maybe, and you have a set of delivery partners as well. Now you have your business running. Now you have something you can work on. It does not sound like SpaceX, it does not sound like Tesla, but this is what actually works. This is how you start small. Once you have started small, maybe you can expand to Udaipur burgers. You can expand to other foods. Then you can expand to other cities. And this is actually how these things work. If you look at the history of Swiggy or Zomato, I'm pretty sure this is how they would have started. I think they started first in Bangalore and then they expanded to other areas, right? So I basically described an entire business just in front of you. So maybe you can try it. Okay. Execution is the key everywhere. And yeah. So the problem with a lot of people is that they want to be the Swiggy of India right now, in this very moment. They don't want to start Udaipur best pizzas. They want to start the Swiggy right now. So that is not how it will work. You will first have to start small and then grow big. Without putting in the effort, you will not get there. So this is my advice to anyone who's willing to start a business or a startup.
Okay, so by saying this, I guess Kalpit sir has already busted the biggest myth of all time, and please juniors, don't start with your idea, start by studying your market, and yeah, all the helpful content has been given to you. Please work on it. And last question, if I'm allowed to, it is a little bit on a less serious and a fun side. So let's keep it like that. So, like, we all have some free time with us, right? Like, even on weekends, even after doing everything at us. So the question is, what does Kalpit Veerwal do with his free time? Like, some juniors were watching Family Man 2, some juniors were watching Invincible, some people are investing their time. So what do you do with your free time?
Okay. Yeah. So one thing which I would like to tell to everyone is that a lot of people, especially the productivity types, people have this mindset that they want to work all the day. Okay, but things do not work that way, because if you're doing something creative, especially if you're into a job which is not really repetitive, if you're into a job which is creative in nature. So my job is to come up. So in the beginning, when I started AcadBoost, I was the one who was teaching as well. Okay, I was creating courses. I was also making videos. So I was doing everything, which as I stated now in the food example, first you start with everything. Like, first you have to do everything and then you can expand. So back then I didn't have much free time because I was busy doing everything. But now I am a lot more free. So you have to make sure that you are focusing your mind on a lot of non-productive stuff as well. So a few things which I like to do is, so I don't really watch many movies or TV shows. I do like Rick and Morty a lot. I was watching that in the morning actually today. Then I watch a bit of football. That is something which I really enjoy. And apart from that, I like to think a lot. So sometimes I just like to stay alone and think about a lot of things. So I have this, I have these. So recently I've started journaling things. I'm not talking about that Dear Diary thing. I'm talking about, if I come across any idea, then I try to ponder about it. I try to write about it in my notes and try to think of, and it's not just related to business or something like that. It could even be a mental model for anything. So one particular hobby which I have right now is, it's not a hobby, it's actually a goal, is that I have some few major, so everyone has a few key goals in their life. Okay, I want to have this amount of money. Okay, you have a financial goal, you have an intellectual goal, you have a fitness goal, you have a relationship or friendship goal, right? You have these goals in your life. So I try to create mental models for each of these. What is my relationship with money? What is my relationship with fitness? What do I think about knowledge? Is knowledge useless? Is knowledge useful? If I learn about this particular thing, is it useful? So I try to create mental models about that. I spend a lot of time on fitness. So I think I spend an average of 1 to 2 hours every day. So I started it pretty recently. I was not really into all this until 2019. So I do a bit of weightlifting. I play a bit of football. I do a bit of, that cycling and all that. So that is also something I do. And rest of the time, I spend a lot of time with my family. So that is something which I really liked about the lockdown a lot, that a lot of us are getting to spend time with our families. I know many of us would prefer to be in the college, and it works like this. When you're in college, we want, when will we get back to home? And when we're in home, a lot of us want to go back to college. But I really enjoyed, I spend a lot of time with my family as well. So those are the things I do pretty much, yeah.
That's great, Kalpit. And I really like that part that you like spend time with the family. Okay, so I have this next question. So basically the question is, when you have a new startup idea, how do you gauge the market for it? Like, I would want to know, what is your approach for market penetration?
Yeah. Actually, that's a really great question. So recently, so in 2021, I've been exploring a lot of other business ideas as well, because I started AcadBoost in 2018, and 2019 I launched the first product, the first course, and almost all of 2020 went to creating courses and managing teachers and all that stuff. So I did not have really much free time and I was also pursuing my degree in parallel, right? But I completed my degree in 2020 end. So I became a bit free in 2021 because AcadBoost was also, it was on an autopilot mode, and my degree was also over. So I've been exploring different business ideas for the last 6 months. And I have started working on probably 2 or 3 business ideas. I even went in the middle, and then I rejected them. So how I actually did that. So first of all, you should understand what is your financial goal which you want to achieve. So do you want to earn 1 lakh rupees per month? Do you want to earn 10,000 rupees per month? Do you want to earn 10 lakh rupees per month? Do you want to earn one? You have to think कि कितना बड़ा आपको चाहिए, like what is the goal you want to achieve and in how much time. Okay, so AcadBoost has a particular amount of rough revenue per month. Okay, so now the second thing which I'm going to start, it obviously has to be of a similar or greater magnitude. I'm not going to commit my time to something which earns way less than what AcadBoost itself already does, right? So if you are someone who already knows कि मेरा potential है कि I can earn 50,000 per month, I can earn 1 lakh per month, I can earn 3-4 lakh per month, whatever it is, you should start something which gives you an output way more than that. That is the first thing you should understand. Okay, and this is something which a lot of people miss out on. All right. Now, and if you apply this particular filter, it will filter out most of your ideas. So I was thinking of starting a SaaS company 3-4 months back, and I worked a lot on it. Okay, because I was the computer science person, and how can I not start a SaaS company? I have a computer science degree, right? I had that kind of a thought, and I started coding, and काफी सारा काम भी कर लिया. And then I did a bit of, and then I saw a similar company in a similar domain. I discovered about it later on. And then I went into its financials. Okay. And that company had been running for 10 years, and they were making almost double the amount of money which AcadBoost made in 2020. They made double that amount in 2020. So I was thinking, ki, bro, you have worked on your company for 1 year and you are earning half of what this company has earned after its 10th year. So it clearly shows that this thing is not worth doing, because it was taking way more time than what I should be giving, and it was earning a lot less than what I wanted, right? So this should be your first filter. Ki figure out your financial goal, and if it's or figure out your financial capacity right now. Ki I am earning this much. Can I earn 5x of that? Can I earn 10x of that in 5 years, 6 years, or what? Of course, you will not earn the money in the first place itself. Okay. So that is the first filter. The second filter is that filter, the 3 circles which I told you about, something which you are interested in, something which you can do in the next 10 years, and something which people are paying for. Now here there is actually one more circle which I have not really talked about. It is the circle of feasibility. So I'll tell you what this means. So a lot of people in their first year they want to build space rockets. They might be very passionate about it. They might have rocket knowledge. They might, and people are willing to pay for it. But is it feasible? Can you build a rocket in college? Can you start a SpaceX out of college? You cannot do that, right? So these are the 3-4 things which you should consider. Key. Does it deliver the amount of money you want? Does it have enough of your interest that you will, make enough? Does it have enough of your attention that you will give 10 years to it? And the third thing which I suggest, and this is also a good one, is to look at companies which already exist in that space. All right. So see if that market is actually saturated or not. So one way to do it is to go to Google Trends, so trends.google.com, and search for that term. So if you want to build, let's say, you want to build a food delivery company, or you want to build a payment gateway. So just search payment gateway and see the curve which the trends follow. So right now the payment gateway trend is something like this. Okay. So it sort of is already at the end of the exponential. So you will probably not create much value. But if it is something which is just starting out, then you probably have a lot of chance. So look for things which are just starting out, which you believe have a lot of future potential, which you can pull off, and which will give you enough amount of money to be happy with. Okay, don't enter something जिससे मेहनत तो दिन का 10 घंटा लगता है and income it's close to none. Okay, then it's better to join a job maybe. Okay, so it was a convoluted answer, but I hope it helps.
Right, Kalpit. Thank you for that beautiful insight. That was really helpful. Okay, so we have a few more questions. The next question is like when you start a business along with the college life, right? So it takes a lot of toll on your health, like there's a sort of sacrifices to do. So the students wanted to ask, like, what does it cost? How do you manage your college alongside your business and new venture?
Okay. Okay. So the answer to this is that first of all, you should be someone who is, really ambitious. Who should actually have an interest in going forward. Okay. So if you are pursuing a goal which is very different, okay, so entrepreneurship is by definition a different goal, because once you're in college, everyone around you is chasing either their grades, they are chasing some sort of a status कि मैं ESL का head बन जाऊं किसी तरह से. They are chasing that, or they are chasing a placement. They are chasing something. Everyone in college is doing that. Okay, and being an entrepreneur is actually sort of low status in college. Okay, कि अरे वाह business start कर रहे हैं ये तो Elon Musk, next Elon Musk. You will hear such kind of things, and I'm pretty sure even the members of ESL must have also heard from their friends. किसने तो बोला होगा कि अरे वाह ESL वाले लोग हैं, तो something like that, right? So your entire environment is going to be something which will react in very negative ways because of the kind of work you are actually going to do, right? So it takes a bit of resilience, it takes a bit of ambition in yourself to be able to not get affected by that. So that is something which is sort of a personality trait. It's kind of in your own psychological makeup. So you cannot really do much about it. Okay. A few things which helped me was to have some sort of a safety net. Okay. So what this means is that let's say you fail. Let's say your business fails and it crumbles to the ground and nothing is left. What do you do after that? Do you have enough of a skill to survive? Is your family well off? So these are a few safety nets. So once you have those safety nets, it actually makes it a lot more easy to start a startup. And the third thing which I would like to talk about is interest. So when I mentioned about the three circles, about the three sets which you have to choose from, I said it specifically that you should start something which you're interested in, something you can do for 10 years. So this is what I actually meant. If you're the kind of person who gets, who feels low after someone comments or someone says you, if you get worried by the hard work involved, then it's probably not something you can do for 10 years. Okay. So that is one thing. And yes, sometimes it is natural to feel low. Sometimes it is natural to, have a negative health impact on yourself because of the hard work that you're doing, because college itself is hard and trying to start a business in parallel it's much more harder, right? So it's okay to feel a bit low, maybe talk to your family, friends. And, so I remember, so there was this particular video I used to watch whenever I used to feel low. So there was this nice video on YouTube about entrepreneurship, something like that. I used to watch that and I used to feel very rejuvenated. Ki, haan, bhai, ab to maza aa gaya. So sounds immature, but it actually works wonders. Okay. And one particular point which I would like to talk about related to health is try to do some sort of exercise daily. This will help you a lot. Okay. I started this a bit late in my life, but it really helps you a lot. Okay. I'm only 22. It's not really late, but okay. You should try to build a habit of exercising in your second year itself. It will boost your mental health. It will boost your resilience like nothing else. Yeah, that is my answer.
Great. That was truly a great answer. And I guess that is it for the question and answer session.
Yeah.
Thank you all for your questions. And I would like to hand the stage back to Shreya and Arun. Please continue.
Yes, sir. So thank you so much, Kalpit sir, for sharing your thoughts and experiences with us. And this has been one of the most gripping end talk session by IIIT Lucknow. And we are extremely grateful, sir, to you for taking out time for us.
Thank you, Shreya.
Yes, sir.
So we'll be ending the live session now. And once again, I'm Kalpit sir.